Imagine portrait drawing as a series of layers, and if you don't understand them in the right order, the final result will always feel off. So the first layer is simply building the basic structure. The first two lines are just a vertical and horizontal cross, because the entire portrait will be built around them later. After that, I add one line at the top for the forehead and another one at the bottom for the chin. Then, I divide the space between them into 4 equal sections, because these become the 4 main facial guidelines that I'll keep checking later in the portrait. And later on, these same lines will help reveal some mistakes much more easily. Once everything feels balanced, I begin adding a few straight lines to suggest the shape of the hair. Not accurately yet. I'm only helping my eyes understand where the face will sit on the page. And this is still just the first layer. The second layer is where I begin focusing more on the features inside the face, like the eyebrows, the nose, and the mouth. I also added rough lines for the beard, just to understand where the details will eventually go. But notice something. Up to this point, I'm still not focusing on details, or trying to make the portrait look realistic yet. So if your drawing still looks strange right now, don't worry. That's completely normal at this stage. Because once we move into the next layer, the portrait starts changing completely. Before moving into the next layer, I want you to first understand where the light source is coming from, because this changes everything about how you shade the portrait. In this drawing, the light is coming from the left side, which creates stronger shadows across the right side of the face. And once you understand that, it becomes much easier to know exactly what you should focus on in this stage, because now you can clearly identify where the darkest areas are going to be. So I begin adding simple details, while mainly focusing on those shadow areas only, like the straight planes of the nose, the shadow underneath it, and the areas around the eyebrows and the eyes. At this point, I'm still not trying to fully finish the portrait. I'm only improving it gradually, maybe around 20 or 30%. But later, these small changes start making a huge difference. Now we move into the final layer, and this is where the portrait really starts coming together. At this stage, I switch to a softer and darker pencil, in this case, the Staedtler Black 8B, because now we're starting the real shading process. But notice something. I'm still not jumping into the darkest values immediately. I first begin with the areas that are dark, but not completely black yet. And if you're more experienced with shading, you can probably create almost every value using just this pencil alone. But if you're still a beginner, you can absolutely use lighter grades like 4B or 6B in the beginning, and you'll still be able to achieve a realistic result. If you notice here, I started with the darkest area inside the nose first. Then, I gradually moved into the lighter shading around it, while still respecting the direction of the light source. After that, I move into the eyebrow. This eyebrow isn't very thick, so be careful not to exaggerate it more than the reference image. And also, pay attention to the alignment, because both eyebrows still need to sit on the same horizontal level. From there, I begin shading the eyelids and the surrounding areas around the eyes, because these shadows, these are what help define the exact position of the eyes. And notice something here. I'm still not drawing the eyes themselves yet. I'm focusing on the shadows around them first, so I can better understand their size and placement. Then, I repeat the same process on the other eye. Once that's finished, I move into the mouth area. But before drawing the lips themselves, I first worked on the mustache, because the mustache actually helps define where the upper lip sits exactly. The hair strokes here are slightly sharp, but not completely straight. And now, you've already established where the mouth should be. At this point, I also want you to compare the width of the mouth by relating it back to the position of the eyes. And check carefully where the eyes begin in relation to the nose, because if that relationship is wrong, the width of the mouth will immediately feel incorrect too. And that's exactly why I personally prefer starting with the nose first, because it becomes the main anchor for measuring the entire portrait later. As for the lips themselves, the first thing I establish is the center line between them. Then I build the upper lip first, followed by the lower one, while still respecting the direction of the lighting. But if you pay close attention here, there's actually a small mistake I'm making in this section. It might not be obvious yet, but later I'll show you exactly how I noticed it. Once I finish the mouth area, it becomes much easier to move into the rest of the beard, because now I can finally start understanding the outer boundaries of the face more clearly. One important thing here, your pencil needs to stay sharp, because drawing beard texture with a dull pencil usually makes everything feel too soft and less realistic. And notice something else. The beard also has layers. Some areas are much darker and denser, while other areas stay lighter and thinner. So, by gradually shading the areas next to each other, I can naturally build the side of the face without forcing the outline. And if you notice here, I added a few simple hair strands, but I didn't complete them fully yet, because I still need to shade the surrounding areas first, so I can understand exactly where those hair strands should begin from the hairline itself. But before moving into that, I first work on the neck, the body, and the side hair areas, because those parts help me later when I start building the upper hair section. The real skill here isn't avoiding mistakes completely, it's training your eyes to notice them while drawing. And personally, I usually notice these mistakes after stepping away from the drawing for a short break, because once you return, your eyes suddenly start noticing things you completely missed before. That's why I always recommend not drawing continuously for hours. Try taking at least 2 short breaks during the portrait. Then zoom out and look at the entire face together. Mistakes become much easier to spot that way. Try this yourself, and let me know in the comments if you notice a difference. After fixing the mouth, I continue building the hair, then move into the forehead, so I can better define the full shape of the hairline. And now, after finishing the beard and mustache, the mistake in the mouth finally became noticeable. If you look carefully, you'll notice that the left side of the mouth sits slightly lower, which makes the lips feel tilted. But fixing it here is actually very simple. I darken the center line slightly, raise the left side of the upper lip a little, and erase a few extra areas above it. And immediately, the mouth starts feeling balanced again. And if you notice, I still haven't drawn the eyes yet, because I personally prefer leaving them until the very end, since they completely change the feeling of the portrait. For the hair strands here, focus mainly on 2 things: the direction of the hair and the areas where the light hits. Once you understand those 2 things, the hair suddenly becomes much easier to draw. One last thing about the hair. Pay close attention to the overall size of the hair mass itself, because if the hair becomes too narrow or too wide, it can completely change the likeness of the original portrait. So even if the face structure feels correct, the hair shape still plays a huge role in the final proportions. After that, I begin focusing on the shadows falling onto the shirt, created by the strong lighting hitting the face. And since the shirt itself is white, I only add very soft shading here. And now, we finally arrive at the most important part, the eyes. This is the moment we've been building toward throughout the entire portrait. Pay close attention to the eye shape here, because the eyes are slightly narrowed due to the strong lighting hitting the face. There's also a very small highlight inside the eyes, and that tiny detail makes a huge difference in the direction of the gaze. Then I move into the second eye. And honestly, this eye becomes much easier to draw because of the shadow shape and the slight squint, which naturally reduces the amount of small details. Once the eyes are complete, I start checking the entire face again for any final adjustments. For example, I noticed the shadow on the right side of the nose needed to be stronger. The area around the eyes needed more depth, and the cheek also needed a few extra shading details. I also increased some of the highlights slightly to create a stronger contrast across the portrait. And with those final adjustments, the portrait is finally complete. If you enjoyed this method, let me know in the comments. And if you want more videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me keep creating new ideas and tutorials for you. And I also recommend watching the video on your screen, especially if you enjoy the Loomis method.